the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney Apke, and I'm your host. On the Soulish Podcast, we're talking all about the ish of our souls. The ish being negative thought patterns, blockages, and challenges. But we'll also discuss the aha moments, how to deeply connect with ourselves and others, and the breakthroughs, big or small, that we experience in our body, soul, and spirit. We'll dive deep and talk about everything in between, of course. And I'm so excited to share my experiences and thoughts, as well as bring on guests who are thought leaders and truth seekers. It's my desire to uplift, encourage, and inspire you in each podcast. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Soulish Podcast. In this episode, I want to talk to you guys about a fear that has been really present in my life, and it's influenced a lot of things in my life, influenced my choices, my decisions, the way I communicate, the way I relate, the way I react to things in life, whether it's something or someone. And so today I want to talk about the fear of rejection. And if you're just following this series or you happened on this episode and it stuck out to you, I know that there's a reason why, because I do believe that the fear of rejection touches everyone, whether you're popular, unpopular, whether you're surrounded by people or not surrounded by people. I believe that the fear of rejection touches everyone at every stage in their life, whether you're a little kid or you're an old person. It doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. And this fear, for me, has influenced so many things in my life, whether it's choices or it's the way I react to something. And I can see the fruit of giving into that fear in my life, even just looking back on the years and how I missed opportunities or said no to things that I was afraid of stepping into or accepting for fear of being rejected. And then I also look back on the moments in my life where I, in boldness and in faith and in hope, accepted a larger role maybe in my career than I was big enough to fulfill. And I look back on those moments and see how that was either sabotaged by my lack of positive energy once I accepted it. And I can also see how things in my life have confirmed my fears of rejection. And so I know that that happens because I've experienced it, where your worst fear comes true and you do in fact experience rejection, and it's painful and embarrassing and humiliating and belittling sometimes and demoralizing, and you hurt from that for a long time, especially if it's something that is really public or deeply personal. And so I definitely want to assure you that I am speaking from a place of experience and deep connectedness with the fact that the fear of rejection is very real. It is very difficult to power through, to get over, to heal from. And it's very difficult to change the movement of thought and feelings when you're struggling with the fear of rejection. And so my hope is that as we dive deeper into this fear of rejection, that you are encouraged and that I am able to give you some simple 3 steps that will help you to move away from fear and move into faith and hope and trust in yourself, in source, God, universe, spirit, and that you would be able to overcome this fear in your life and not be dictated by it, influenced by it, but yet inspired to move through that fear, which is very real and very present in our lives. So I'd like to talk about how everyone experiences rejection and the fear of rejection. It doesn't matter whether or not you're popular or surrounded or alone and unpopular. You will experience rejection in your life, and you will also experience the fear of rejection. It's what happens in life, unfortunately. When I was in high school, a popular girl probably one of the most popular girls, asked to meet with me privately in my home. And she actually asked for me to not tell anybody, even before she came over, that she was even coming over, because she was so afraid of her social standing either being influenced by the fact that people knew that she was hanging out with me or talking with me. And she just was terrified of anyone's opinions changing about her. She was actually at a really critical time in her life, because her boyfriend, who was one of the most popular guys in school, and he was the star runner back, and he had actually tragically just passed away. And it was super tragic and awful. And she was super popular already, and this really just skyrocketed her popularity, but not in the way that she wanted. And she became super recluse and depressed and even suicidal just because of the pressure. It was just so much. So she was coming over, and I actually invited her over because I could see that she was just struggling so much, and I just really wanted to reach out and help her. And we had sort of been connecting in like one or two of the classes that we had together. And I just always wanted to make her know that I'm a safe place. Even when I was in high school, I was that way. I've just always been that way. And she took me up on the offer, which was great. And she came over. We just talked about everything from why would, she believed that God maybe took him early, and why was that, or why would God allow something like this to happen? We talked about that. We also talked about the pressure and her choice of where she is in the popularity circle, and what she wants for her life, and where she sees herself going. And it was a great conversation. But what struck me was how afraid she was when I looked in her eyes and she asked me to not let anyone know that she is meeting with me, has met with me. She asked me twice before she came over and after we were done talking. And I just reassured her that I would not let anyone know, that I wouldn't talk about it, and that everything that was shared and the fact that she was even over will remain private and confidential. And I just knew that it was all stemming from a place of that fear of rejection, that fear of being judged and criticized and talked about, because she knew it would be talked about. And I completely understood that because I saw it happen all the time with her. And I got to see a side of her that no one else got to see. It really was amazing and such a privilege and an honor to share that moment with her. And I kept up with her to make sure that she was okay, because many days she didn't come into school and she was having such a hard time sleeping, and all of that just from the nightmares of everything that had happened, But it struck me even back then, just the enormity of the fear of rejection, the fear of being criticized, judged, thrown out of her social status. And that was kind of the only thing that she had that was her security and safety. Her social security was her popularity and the people that she did have around her. So I know that at every level, we can struggle with this fear of rejection, this fear of being judged and abandoned or left or rejected. And it can come in many different forms for many different people. And for some people, they don't pursue things in their life because they're so afraid of being rejected. So they self-reject before they ever even get rejected, because they are so afraid of it failing or it falling apart or losing it when they finally have it. There's so many forms of this fear that it touches everybody in every kind of way. And that's why I really wanted to talk about it, because I feel it's so important to discuss and to work on seeing it, however it is for you, acknowledging it, recognizing it, right? And then taking the steps to take responsibility for your actions or reactions, your words, your thoughts, even your feelings, and to hold space for yourself where you are right now and what you're feeling in that present moment of that fear, but to take responsibility for how you move forward, how you moved through it. And then that way you can grow from it, learn from it, and then you have the opportunity to speak truth to yourself or about yourself, whether you believe it right then in that moment or not. But also speaking about your future and your hopes for your future, your dreams for your future. And so I think it would be cool to talk about, that hamster wheel effect of rejecting something before you even get rejected, before it even happens. I have had many friends who have not pursued dreams, even clients who have struggled to pursue their dreams or their purpose because it seems so lofty. And why is that? Why is it that when we dream about something, when we even see it in our mind, we can so clearly see what we want, yet we are struck down by the fear of either it not happening, it never happening, never working out, or having it and then losing it? Why is that? Why is that is something that we even struggle with when we can so clearly see it and dream about it? I think it's funny because kids just don't have that reservation, right? When they dream of being a fireman, a policeman, an astronaut, right? We always talk about that, or a teacher, whatever aspirations they have about their life, a scientist, it could be anything, right? World traveler, photographer, musician. Why is it that kids don't have that reservation? I think it's because, to be honest, we experience rejection in our life. We experience things not working out in our favor. And that's just really honestly a part of life. But why is it that then being a part of everyone's life, why is that something that we then fear? And I think that's because we take it personally and we internalize something that is happening externally as we are the reason why that didn't work out. Whether we haven't earned it, we're unworthy, we're not enough, right? All those things, we're not valuable, we're not an asset, or that it's too big for our tiny little feet and we will not be able to fill the shoes, or that it won't work out in the end. Maybe we struggle with the lack of hope and trust. And maybe because life has just been so hard or so difficult, we don't believe that God, the universe, source, spirit, has our best interest or even thinks of us in that way, that we're even a thought or recognized on earth in this big ocean of people. So what is it that has caused you to fear being rejected? What is it that is holding you back? What has taught you that? Because it's not an inherent reaction. It's not something that is your inheritance as far as how you react, act, think, feel, believe. And so what is it that has caused you, whether it's multiple things or one specific experience, that has caused you to believe that not all things are possible for you, that good things just aren't in your cards, or that you'll get it, but it'll fall apart in your hands? It's really good to reflect. It's really good to think about those things. It's really good to acknowledge, to recognize those moments in our lives that taught us to fear, because fear is a learned behavior in all aspects, whether it's from the stove is hot or don't jump off something so high because you could break your leg. We learn those fears of fear heights or fear hot things, or don't go out in the middle of a safari alone. We have really good, sensible fears, right, that we learn as we're growing up and developing. But then we also develop these fears that are not necessarily helpful, are not beneficial for our lives, but actually hinder us and hold us back from pursuing our dreams or things that we aspire to do or be. In my life, I have taken a really hard look at myself, and I know that it also stems from that victimization that has been also another theme in my life of I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. And so that has been something that I've also had to work on that has been very closely tied into this fear of rejection. And I'm going to be talking about the victim mentality in the next episode. So definitely tune in for that. I know that that's also a part and plays a part in my fear of rejection, because I just believe that no good things are going to happen to me, that everything's going to be stolen from me or not work out, or it's going to be given to somebody else. And so why even try? Why even dream? Why even hope? Why even want something good for myself, good for my life? Why want love? And why want a person in my life who will love me? Why even want that when it hasn't happened? It's not going to happen because I've been rejected or I've been hurt. I've been cheated on, right? That's my story. And so why even want that when you know you're going to think it's the best thing in your life that you've ever had, and then you're going to be extremely let down? Why give someone that opportunity? So it's really good to look, right? To look down deep into, why do I fear being rejected? Why do I have this fear in my life? Why is this present? And how do I turn that around? So for me, it's recognizing that I even have that fear. And that's recognizing in hindsight. And that's also recognizing in the moment. Because if you can't catch it in the moment, then it's going to be really hard to pull back. So it's good to catch those self-rejecting thoughts before you then act on them or react because of them, because it ends up forming, right, a core belief in you. So it's acknowledging and recognizing that core belief, which stems from those thoughts. Those thoughts are kind of like little red flags for you, indicating that there is a core belief inside of you that says, I'm not enough, I'm not valuable, or nothing good is going to happen for me, or everything is going to fall apart. And you just don't believe that good things can happen in your life. Hey, it's me, Wit. Did you know that I'm a certified life coach? I have been coaching and mentoring people for over a decade now, and I specialize with issues of the soul and focus on inner freedom and manifestation. I can help you realign with your values and purpose, break free from emotional blockages and negative thought patterns. You will feel motivated and encouraged to take the necessary steps to live a fulfilling life. We all need support and someone to cheer us on or hear us out, and it would be a privilege to be a part of your journey. My sessions are designed so that you are free to address whatever you feel is most important. If you are interested, simply go to whitneyapke.com/coaching and sign up for a free 30-minute call. I can't wait to work with you. Or that great things are going to come your way. For many people, it's abundance. You've struggled with money your whole life. It's come and gone quickly, and you hang on to every last penny. You have the worst time saving because there is no savings left over after all the bills and any kind of additional expenses that come your way. And so abundance, what do you mean abundance? I'm scraping every month and every week, right? For many people, that is the case for them. So thinking of abundance, that they're just going to come into money, or that money's going to fall from the sky into their lap and into their bank account, is kind of a lofty thing and not something that they would necessarily be first to believe. But if we can recognize where that comes from, where does that stem from? Did you have a childhood where money was also an issue? And recognizing it could just be that you've just always struggled. And so it's really hard to think that you'll come into a job or a career or you'll find another stream of income somehow. And it's hard to believe in abundance when that hasn't been your reality. But when we can recognize and acknowledge this, it gives us that moment of taking responsibility. It gives us that opportunity to say, you know what? I am actually going to take responsibility for these thoughts, feelings, for this belief, and I am going to make a different choice right now. I'm going to choose to believe that good things do happen in my life, and that good things are going to happen in my life, and that I have an inheritance that is inherently mine, of abundance, prosperity, of love, of joy, of peace, and of goodness, good things in my life. And that is my inheritance by default. And I'm going to believe that this is my new normal. This is my new reality. Whether it is currently my reality or not, I'm just going to believe that it is. And so by taking that responsibility for your actions, your reactions, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs about yourself and about your life and about the world, even. It can even go into your worldviews, is one of the hugest, most major steps in recovering from this fear and changing the way that you think and feel and believe. And it is monumental. So if you can do that and take action, and it is a choice, it is not a feeling. So you can be feeling and experiencing the opposite of what you're choosing to believe for yourself, but keep believing, right? And that's not always easy, but it can happen and it can work for you, because I know that it's happened in my life. And this is the reason why I think things turn around when you choose to believe the opposite of what you're seeing currently in your life, what you've seen in your life, in your past, is because when you choose to believe the highest, the best, the greatest, even I dare say the impossible for your life, you change the energy. You go from a small to a big energy. You go from a pessimistic, negative energy to a positive, hopeful, full of joy and patience type of energy. Which one do you think is going to attract goodness your way? Which energy do you think is going to open up doors and opportunities in your life? Even just the people around you will notice the difference. And so that is one of the major reasons why things change. But it is work. It's daily work. And so you have to make that choice every single day to recognize and acknowledge, be totally aware of how you're feeling, of what you're thinking about, of what you're entertaining, of what you're consuming, even the material that you're consuming, the social media that you're consuming. Be very vigilant with that it's positive, that it's good. It doesn't have to be foo-foo and unrealistic, but make sure that what you're consuming is also positive and is benefiting you, because that also contributes to your energy, your vibration, and that will help you and enable you that when something does maybe fall through in your life, which is a part of life, your reaction will be totally different than what it was before. The third point of this is to also speak truth about yourself. This is huge. This is one of the things that I tell every one of my clients is don't just think differently. Don't just feel differently. Don't just believe differently, but speak differently. Because I believe personally that words have immense power and authority over our lives. So when you meditate, when you pray, when you speak over yourself, when you speak into your future and what you see for your future, that is so powerful and influential. It also gives you a little boost and pep in your step, but it also influences the energy around you. And I don't believe that words come out of our mouth and don't return back to us. Same as karma. I think when you speak negatively about yourself, someone else, something else, the world, that energy returns back to you. And it's the same thing, right? When you have an intention, that has energy and karmic energy behind it. And then when you take action on that intention, it has also even more karmic energy, positive or negative. So the same thing is for your words. Your words have power, life or death, positivity, negativity, and that will come back to you. So it is so important that you speak the truth about yourself, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't feel it, even if that's not the reality of your life right now. It's so important that we speak positive words and affirmations about ourselves, our worth, our value, the fact that we are an asset, the fact that we are capable of doing anything that we set our minds to, set our hands to, that if we can see it, we can have it. And speaking hope for our future and what we see for our future, what we're believing for our future, that is also so important. And that is really a huge step in recovering from the fear of rejection. So I just want to encourage you guys that if you are struggling with the fear of rejection, If that is something that is definitely a cycle where you're self-rejecting before you're even rejected, and therefore then experiencing rejection, but self-rejection. And if you've experienced rejection in your life, whether in love or in your personal life, in your family, in your career, and also if you've just struggled with that fear that's just been in your life, maybe you've seen people fail and fail big, and so you were afraid that that was going to happen to you too. It doesn't matter. You can recognize and acknowledge your fears and your feelings and hold space for those feelings, those thoughts, because you do want to honor the way that you feel. You don't want to just disregard the way that you feel about something or someone, but you want to acknowledge and recognize and then take responsibility for your actions and reactions. You don't want to just sit in that space of negativity and pessimism and fear and anxiety, but you actually want to move through it. And how you move through it is you take responsibility for how you feel and how you're going to believe about how you feel and the actions that you're going to choose to take and the reactions that you want to have, and your response to the way that you feel is huge. And then speaking truth about yourself, whether you believe it or not, and hoping for the best in your future and in your life. And I think for me, the biggest thing is reminding myself of my purpose, reminding myself of my passion, of what I love and what I feel so called to do. That always grounds me and brings me back to that place of, you know what, I literally feel this in my bones. I don't just feel this in my bones just for fun. This is because I was created for this. I was made for this. I came here for this reason. And that helps me to move past that fear of rejection, because ultimately I'm not getting rejected. It's what I have to offer the world that is being rejected. So it's not something that's personal against me. It's just that that person may be not ready for it. And my dad has always said something when he's ministered to people, prayed over people. He always leads by his intuition of who is an open flower versus a closed flower, because an open flower is open and ready to receive you. A closed flower is not yet ready. That doesn't mean that it's because of you. And so instead of internalizing it and making it a knock on your value and chipping away at your self-worth, instead of doing that, realizing that there are open flowers and there are closed flowers. And so it's okay that we have and experience closed flowers. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're being rejected, but it may be that you then want to focus on the open flowers, because those are the people or things or opportunities that open up to you in your life that you're meant for in this moment and in this time, to have that exchange of love, energy, intention, whatever it is. And to know and to believe that even if there's something that you want to experience in your life that you haven't yet, or that opportunity has been closed to you, just know that that will open up at some point later on, and have hope for your future in that aspect, but don't make it about you and what you're worthy of or not worthy of. It's not a matter of worth. It's a matter of timing and understanding that and having that wisdom. And that has helped me a lot, because I've been rejected a lot by people. I've been rejected a lot by opportunities in my life, and it has really, really hurt. It's damaged me very much because I internalized it and made it about me and couldn't see anything else. I couldn't see another way or reason of why that happened, or why that person did that or said that. But I've realized that it wasn't me, it was them, or it was the timing of that in my life. And I've even realized and looked back on opportunities that I've had in my life that have shut in my face and definitely hit me in the nose. And I've walked away with feeling like, the worst possible human being on the planet, because that wasn't presented to me, or I wasn't accepted into that role. And I actually look back on that as such a saving grace, because if I had gone ahead with that, I would have been either under somebody that was not a good leader, and not a good manager, or it would have taken something else from me of an opportunity that I eventually stepped into that I wouldn't have otherwise. And so, life is a teacher, and we have to know and trust and believe that we are here for a purpose and a reason, and that's to learn, that's to grow, that's to experience, and we are worthy of all of those things. You are worthy of all those things. And so all you need to do is recognize and acknowledge the fear of rejection. You need to take responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your reactions, and you need to speak the truth about yourself, whether you believe it or feel it right now. And you need to speak also hope for your future and really ground yourself in your purpose and in your passions, because those are going to always lead you in your life. I hope this was helpful to you, and I look forward to our next episode, which will be about victimization and that victim mentality and how to overcome that, because that's also been another struggle in my life. So I hope that you enjoy that episode as well, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Soulish is not only a podcast, but a community where we can relate to each other and support each other in our soul journeys. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at I Am Soulish.